Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. I received a nice little gift package here a couple of days ago from an unnamed resource. It has wheat pennies in it from an unnamed hoard. We're going to search it, see what we can find. Let's go. So hi there, it's Jeff, aka Silver Chupacabra, and today we are going to do some wheat penny hunting, which is something that I like and I hope you like. As I had mentioned before, I'm not going to really name the resource of this, but as you can see, I've got 6 solid rolls of coins that are supposedly unsearched, and we're going to go through them. I'm going to probably show you the more important ones, of course, maybe from the 30s, 20s, and teens, if we do or are so lucky to get that. I have actually dealt with this resource before. It's hard to tell whether they've really been searched or unsearched, but I have found a 1909 VDB in EF condition, probably a low end EF. And that's a pretty darn good find. And I also found a semi-key date 1915S in this unnamed hoard. So anyway, it should be fun to go through. Let's get her started. Okay, so I've got the first roll out and we're about ready to go. One thing I forgot to mention is that I will be looking for varieties with some of these wheat pennies as well. I think I'll do that at the end off camera and just bring you in if I actually find anything. I think that would be a good idea to do. One thing I do like to do before I actually get started on any of these is to see if we've got any steel pennies. And I've found a lot of steel pennies in these deals. Hey, let's take a look at this. Walker magnet. This is an awesome tool. It is a screwdriver, but it is also a magnet. Walker Magnet has great live stream $50 hunts on Mondays nights, I believe, and then Saturday mornings. So please go like and subscribe him when you can and take a look at what he's got. But let's see if there's any steel here. And the only way we're going to find out is if we do get... And I don't think so. Not on this one, at least. This may not look like a strong magnet, but it actually is. Okay, so I will bring you in if and when, and we're going to say when because I'm pretty sure we're going to find some things here. I will bring you in when we found something. Okay, so I've opened the roll. First coin out. We've got a 1938. Check out the rest of the roll. Farther in, we've got a 1937 out of Philadelphia. Continuing on. Next coin in, 1937 again, Philadelphia. We are a few coins in. We've got a really nice find here, 1929. It would be out of Denver. It's not a semi-key date, but it's always nice to get anything in the 20s and the teens with mint marks, of course. Continuing. Take a look at the next find. Makes you wonder about unchecked or hoards and whatnot. But I would at least say this. It's a 1958 Canadian penny. And that should have, I believe... No, actually, it's still Elizabeth. It's a younger picture of Elizabeth. I was thinking that might be George. I don't know enough about Canadian coins to know in King George... his last pennies came out. But anyway, that's kind of a cool find. So, about middle way through this roll, and take a look at this. Yeah, it's not the prettiest of Indian head pennies, but anytime you can score an IHP in these, it's pretty cool. That's 1905. See if the back looks any better than the front. Nope. We'll continue on. During the end of this first roll, we got a 1930 San Francisco. Actually, did come across another 1937. Just didn't think you wanted to see the third one out of it. Continue on. Okay, almost at the end of this first roll. And I know I wasn't going to show any 40s or 50s, but this is such a nice condition. I thought I'd throw it out here. There were nice red-brown 1950D. Sweet. Okay, so we're at the end of that first roll, and I thought I'd just kind of do a quick summarizing. These are the 1950s and 1940s that I found, so it's kind of even for those. Good allotment of 30 coins here. There are 5 of them in there. One of them had a nice mint mark to it. This is the oldest Lincoln so far out of these rolls, 1929S. We did get a pretty raunchy Indian, or an IHP, but it's an IHP, so hey. 1958 Canadian. That was actually a nice surprise, even though, what is it doing in these rolls? And then a nice, I would say, red-brown 1950D. Going on to the second roll. All right, so on to the second roll of this wheatback nut. And I did try the steel test on the roll before I did open it. And as you can see, there are no steelies in here. So let's continue on. We've got this first one in here that looks really nice on the front. So I was thinking 50s, 40s, somewhere in there. And, well, 1926. Great start to the roll. Getting close to the middle of roll 2. Looks like we've got a 1935 Philadelphia. Midway through the roll, we've got a 1939 out of Philadelphia. Keep on looking. So I'm looking at the back or the reverse of this one. It's got a lot of wear on it, so I'm thinking this has got a little bit of age to it. Let's see if I'm right. Not correct. 1942. But it does have a lot of wear on it. This one's got a nice little orange tone to it. It's a 1925 out of Philadelphia. Next. Well, I've had a couple of these actually turn up in these rolls where they really don't belong. It's a memorial. Gee, is it at least an old one? Well, 1960. Question is, what's it doing in this roll? Anyway, let's continue on. Get to near the end of the second roll. We've got a 1934 out of Philadelphia. Let's continue on. Continue across a 1939 for Philadelphia. We'll continue. This one came to a little bit of a surprise. The color is very interesting. It's beautiful, actually. But it doesn't really. I mean, the shocks of wheat here have a lot of detail to them. So I wasn't thinking very old, to be honest, when it comes to wheat pennies. But it is a 1928. And I believe that is an S mint mark. 1928 San Francisco. Let's summarize. Okay, so I'm at the end of roll 2 of the wheat pennies. Here's the long list of 1950s. Lots of them. I'd like to see that a little bit more even between the 40s and 50s, to be honest. There's a roll of 40s. Got about the same amount of 30s as we did on the first roll. And then a few more 20s. That 1925 Philadelphia being the oldest, but really, the 1928 San Francisco actually is probably the best find out of all the pennies in the second roll. Let's go to the next roll. Okay, I'm into the third roll now, just at the beginning. I got a back of, or the reverse of a wheat coin, which is looking pretty worn out, which is usually a pretty good sign of age. Let's see what we've got here. We've got a 1927. Nice. Let's continue on with this roll. Okay, still kind of in the start of this roll. Looking like a pretty worn, damaged cent here from the back of the reverse. And let's see what we got. It is a 1916 out of Philadelphia. That is our first wheat cent that's been in the teens. Let's continue on with the roll. Okay, we're almost at the end of roll 3, and we've got a reverse here that's looking pretty worn. Anytime I see that, it's usually something pretty old. Let's see what we got here, and definitely nice little rim damage there, but 1917 is now the second oldest one we've had, two in the teens. Let's see what we got with the rest of this roll. Here was the next coin in the roll, and this one is looking equally as worn out. We have a 1918. Pretty worn, but cool that we're getting the teens now. Let's see what we got with the rest of the roll. So finishing up on the third roll here, and we have a 1938. Sweet. Normally I wouldn't be showing a 1953, but this is in really nice condition. Reddish brown. Continuing on. We got another nice find here. Looking pretty detailed. 1934 Philadelphia. Okay, so I'm at the end of the roll, and let's just do a quick summary. We got the 50s pile, there's the 40s pile, so there's a little more 50s in there than 40s, and that's kind of regular for these wheat penny rolls anyway. The unsearched, there's my quotation marks, unsearched rolls. We got 4 from the 30s. 1 from the 20s, and then really good allotment of 3 from the teens. No real big key dates. Well, I'm not really expecting key dates or semi-key dates. Did have that nice 1953, though. That might actually go into my collection. Let's go on to that fourth roll. So into the fourth roll. And came up with a 1936. This is a nice oldie to start out with. But then we hit this on the second one, and that's pretty worn. Let's see if we've got an oldie on this one. Yep, 1916. Looking for mint marks here, but it's still nice to get the really old ones. Let's continue on. Another one, wheatback reverse. Let's see if this one's got some oldness to it. This is a 1920. Nice. Continuing on. So I was going to stop actually showing the 1930s. So we're getting a lot of Philadelphias, but take a look at this nice one. And it's got good detail to it too. 1933. Out of Denver. Let's continue. Now, this is a nice one. This is a 1921 San Francisco. Probably the best find I've had so far. It's not a key or a semi-key, but still, it's a nice one. Continuing on. Basically at the end of roll 4. So we got another one in the teens here, 1918. She's pretty worn, but while we're at it, let's take a look at the last coin. 44. Summarize the fourth roll. Okay, so we are at the end of roll 4. And take a look at the disproportion and amount here. This is the 40s line here, and this is the 50s. So for once, more 40s than 50s. Getting down to the nitty gritty, I did not show you this one. That was in straight up 1930 Philadelphia. It's a nice representative there. Got 4 30s, a couple in the 20s. One, that 21S is still nice. And then a couple in the teens. We go on to roll 5. Okay, just got started with the 5th roll. And we got another one of these reverses that's got some wear to it. Let's see if we've got something that has a little bit of age to it. This is a 1930, so not as old as I thought it was going to be, but good start. Let's continue on. So about the middle of the roll, this beauty came out, 1955D, really nice condition. Let's keep trucking. During the end of the roll, we get a nice 1926 out of Philadelphia. Onward. A couple of coins down the line and another 1926. Now, this one is screaming old, so let's see if the obverse pays off. A 1924 San Francisco. Wow, too bad that's not a D or you have a semi-key date on there, but actually that's still a nice find. Let's finish up this roll. Okay, so this one just popped up. I'm not sure if this is being cleaned or not. It's a questionable one. Nice ring ding, but 1910, that is definitely a nice find. Back is kind of similar condition. Cleaned or not, still a good one. Let's finish it up. Last coin of the roll. It's a 1929 Philadelphia. Let's go to the summary. Okay, so at the end of roll 5, these are the 50 years of the 40s. So once again, more from the 40s than the 50s. The 30s is a little bit less than it has been in the last, actually the first four rolls. But nice 20s, especially that 24S. Great find there. And we got that 1910 straight out of Philadelphia. I was going to say straight out of Compton, but that wouldn't work. Let's go to that last roll. Okay, so I'm into the last roll, the 6th roll. And a couple coins in, and we've got a 1930 Philadelphia. Before I go on to the rest of the roll, I forgot to bring this one in earlier. Remember, this is from a unsearched hoard of pennies. Yeah. 1972. I'm hoping that that's going to actually be the double die obverse. Doubtful, though. Let's continue on with this last roll. Okay, so we are basically still pretty close to the start of the roll, and we've got a pretty worn out one here, reverse-wise. I'm thinking this has got to be 20s and or teens. Let's see what comes up. Oh, looks like we have got a 1919 with a MIC mark, 1919S. That is not a semi-key date, but always good to get one that has the mint mark in there. Let's continue on. So, I just nearly almost had a heart attack. You know, it's not because of my lack of dietary discretion. I saw this with my eyes, and I could see 1914, and there's a mint mark. Now, of course, the D is the preferable one. It's the key date. Even in the lowest of grades, it's in the hundreds. The S would be a semi-key. Not worth very much, to be honest, but still a good coin to have. Let's take a look. It looks like a 1914 S, unfortunately, but it's also good. Let's check it on the scope just to make sure that's San Francisco. Okay, so I've got it under the scope, obviously. And it is an S, but still, even a semi-keyed it find in these rolls is pretty rare, so I'm pretty happy about this. little over 4 million of these coins were made. Let's see if we can finish off the rest of this roll. Nearing the end of the last roll, we've got another 1926 Philadelphia. That's awfully shiny. I.e., I'm pretty darn sure that's been cleaned. But it is actually in very nice condition, too, so be it. Let's finish out this roll. So I actually just turned this back over because this was a weird one, too. Just like the 14S. Looks in really good condition. I'm thinking 40s, 50s. That wheat's looking good. And then out pops that 1916D. Not a semi-key, but still, that's a pretty good. That's a Lincoln penny in pretty darn good shape, actually. Let's keep trucking. And I know this is 1956. I just love when pennies have that tone. It's got all the rainbow colors and whatnot. It's a nice 1956. By the way, let's finish it up. Okay, so that was the end of the sixth and last roll. Let's go ahead and do a summary. Lots of 50s this time about, a little bit more than the 40s. We got our 30s, we got our 20s, and then probably the best two coins of the lot, although that 1921S is a nice one too. We've got the 16D there, and we've got the 1914S. Let's go ahead and do the big summary. Okay, so I've got just the allotments off to the side here. I have not checked anything for varieties yet, and I'm going to do that after this. Our 50s are in this pile here, 40s here, and they're the largest two piles, so that makes sense. 30s, slightly, well, more than slightly less. Our 20s are over here, and our teens. And got a lot of teens for a 6-roll hunt, to be honest. I don't think I was getting that many 6 months earlier than now. And there's some miscellaneous. That means there's some memorials in there. There's some really nice ones. You remember that Canadian from 58 there, and then that really... the Native American on that IHP seen better times. Anyway, I'm going to go through. It's going to take a while accordingly and look for varieties. And I will come back with anything that I find variety-wise. Okay, so I went through all the pennies that I had found from those unsearched wheat penny rolls. And I found a couple of interesting ones. This one I think is definitely the 1950 S over S repunch. If you look right in between there and there, you can see the S mint mark underneath of it. So I'm pretty sure that this is it. To be honest, it's not in great shape. Really wouldn't fetch much, but I like finding varieties, and I'll definitely put that in the collection. This one's just an oddity to me, so I thought I'd show it to you. Does anybody see anything interesting there? Well, I sure did. Look at where the S is at. Normally the mint mark is in between. It's below, of course, but it's in between the 9 in this instance and the 5, but in this instance the S is pretty much directly below the 9. So I thought that was interesting, and there's nothing on the books that even says anything about this, but that's all right. I like finding little oddities here too. Well, let's wrap it up and look at the best finds. Time to summarize basically what I think are the best finds out of these 6 coin rolls of unsearched Wheat pennies. Let's go and go down the line. I just showed you the 1950 S repunch, or what I think is a repunched SORS. It really cool position of where the S is in that coin. Let's see. This was interesting. All these 1920s, and they're going to be all San Francisco. There's a 29. There's a 28. There is a 37. Put that in the wrong place, but there's another San Francisco. 24S. 21S. And there'll be a 1919S. The one and the 9 at the end there is really hard to see. Got a few 1918s, Philadelphia's, 17 Philadelphia, 16 Philadelphia, and that nice, probably clean 1910 Philadelphia. Best finds, definitely, even though it's one of the worst looking Indian head pennies I've ever seen. 1905. Should this have been in the coin rolls? That's debatable, but 1958 from Canada. And then the two best finds in the rolls themselves. Two semi-key dates, which I have not had. I've done many of these rolls from this company, and I have not gotten two semi-key dates in them, that's for sure. You got a 33D, which looks like it has maybe a thumbprint on it. And then, oh man, I wish that was a 1914D. But it's an S, and it's in pretty good condition, actually. Actually, both of them are pretty good condition. The 33 definitely is bridging the near AU place on that one. But anyway, would I do it again? Would I go to this unnamed company and buy rolls that are supposedly from an unnamed hoard? I might. It's fun, and I just like the surprises that come within it. It's like a box of Cracker Jacks. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great day and the rest of the week that this is coming out. We'll see you later. Bye.